All right. Hi, Maggie.
Very good.
So, I was just wondering if you could talk to me a little bit about your experience with the yoga teacher training program with DDY, and maybe just starting out, like telling me a little bit about um, what brought you to the training program, like what made you decide to do it in the first place.
Yeah. So I trying to think of the year that I did the training program. Was it 2015? Is
I
that
think
right?
it was 15.
Okay. So 2015, and I had just moved to New Mexico, like a month before the teacher training program started, and I just finished college, my undergrad, and I was like actually like coming out of a pretty like rough place in my life, and like I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I wanted something in my life that like felt really positive and felt like it was related to something I was interested in. And that I could find like kind of a community to. I had like no friends. I didn't know anyone when I first moved there. So I'd done some yoga in the past, and not even like very much actually. I'd done some yoga in the past. It's kind of a positive way for me to like connect with my body, and so I just looked randomly up. I looked up teacher training programs and found that one was down the street from my house, and it was DDY's program. And I called Colleen, and I asked her like, tell me a little bit about it, and I decided to like commit to it. It was a pretty lucky happenstance. And I know like most people that would be watching these videos, they will be putting a lot of thought into it. And I think I can only say that I was very, very lucky to like just
Yeah.
right match, but it actually happened like pretty randomly.
Our stories are actually really similar when it comes to that. Mine was too. Um, So can you tell me a little bit about your experience with the teacher training? Just, anything that comes to mind.
Um, well, I think like I don't know. I think when you start in teacher training, or at least when I did, I was like doing this so I can like teach yoga. I think that's something I want to do. It's something, I'm interested in. And so I kind of went into it not really knowing what I was kind of maybe getting into because I thought it would just be about yoga. And I think what I like found there ended up being like very different than what I thought it was going to be. I it this yoga teacher training program, it's like much more about the process, I think, than it is about like the end result. And the process itself is like very cool because it's not necessarily always like goal based, or it's not about like ticking off like check marks on what you're going to learn about teaching yoga. It's really about like self exploration. It's about like being in a group of people where you're like trying to be vulnerable and trying to do something new and get feedback on yourself and get feedback also on like how you teach and how you share information and what your maybe even beliefs are about yoga and health and movement. So I think I went into it thinking I was gonna just learn how to teach yoga, and I think like I mean this sounds corny, but like one of the most important things I got out of it was like our friendship. Like we met there, and
Yeah.
that for me is like beyond beyond like that's like the most important thing that I got out of that program. Not something I was looking for, and I think the other thing that it got me was I had an experience there with one of the guest instructors who is actually a licensed marriage and family therapist that Sean brought in, who was in charge of the teaching program back then. He taught like Colleen and you and me. And that weekend, where she brought in like somatic experiencing, and she's a therapist, so she brought like a very like therapeutic mental health lens to what she does as a yoga teacher and as a yoga therapist. And like that for me was like really life changing. I instantly was like, she's doing something that like I want to do. It's different than the yoga teaching. It has similarities and crossover, but she's doing something that like I really want to do. And that's why I went and got my master's to be a therapist. So that was also out of it.
That's really awesome. When
Yeah,
you say
too at DDY.
mhm. When you say that it was different from your expectations, would you say that was a positive difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think not only did I get what I was expecting, which was to learn how to teach yoga, and I learned how to actually teach the fundamentals of any type of like movement that I would ever want to teach anybody, not just like poses. I think you learn the fundamentals of how to teach movement to people like safely. You learn that like for sure, which is what I was expecting. But I think you get like above and beyond with this program because I think it's absolutely a good thing. I think I don't like it's like much more of a growth experience, I think, than anything else. And I don't think you go into a program maybe expecting that, but I think a lot of people are maybe like unintentionally or like unconsciously searching for that. And this program really applies it. Some people just want to teach yoga, you know, and this provides that too, or maybe a different program is the right fit for them. But like this is definitely like more than that.
Awesome. Would you would you share a little bit about what you're doing now, like how you're using what you learned, and how that's affected, what you're doing now in your life?
Yeah. So I did teach yoga for I think 4 or 5 years at DDY. It's so weird to think that it's like that many years, like that we did the program that long ago. But I think, and right now I'm like technically, I guess, not using my certificate at all because I'm not in that profession and I'm not teaching any yoga. But the yoga program was the reason I became a therapist. I went and got my mental health counseling master's at NMSU because of the program, because of that experience with the licensed and marriage family counselor who was also a yoga therapist. And so that's what I'm doing now. And I don't know if I would be doing that if it wasn't for the program, because I don't think I had maybe connected the idea of like physical healing and health with mental health, that they could exist like together in such like a cool way. And seeing her name was Shelly, our guest instructor, seeing her do that really connected for me. And it's definitely the reason why I'm in the profession I am now. And like, it just also, I think, actually in like little ways, I guess I am using it because, there isn't a therapist like in the world that doesn't need to be able to teach someone how to like deep breathe or like do some movement or meditation or visualization. And I actually think I noticed when I was in my master's program that was a skill that like so many people felt really nervous about, was like, and they like wanted like an exact script of like, okay, how exactly would I guide someone through a meditation? And I would just like make something up on the fly. I do that probably every single week of my job. I make something up on the to like suit maybe what that person needs in that moment. Some people I don't do any meditation with, but like just the other day, like I had someone last week, I had someone that was just saying like, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm here. Like I feel super not okay. And they really needed like human connection, and we were on Zoom, so you can't like physically reach out to someone. And I made up like an energetic visualization like on the spot about us like exchanging this like ball of light back and forth, between us. And like afterwards she was like, that really helped, and I was feeling really lonely and now I'm not anymore, you know? So like I use it all the time actually, I guess, if I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Um, would you say that it has, and you had said that at the beginning, that when you came to the teacher training that you were kind of in a dark place. Would you say that going through the program had other like kind of unintentional effects on your life and where you are now, just with yourself, not necessarily your profession?
Yeah, absolutely. I think um this like not to make light of it, but like having something that you commit to when like I was kind of struggling with depression and some other things and you know, I like paid all the money up front and I like committed to this group of people because you really do like to commit to the other people that are in the program with you that you're going to show up and you're going to be like doing the work, you're going to be like doing the reading, and you're going to be like participating because you get out of it also like what other people put into it. It's definitely like a group experience. So like having a commitment to something when you're like struggling, I think that was like huge for me. You're doing yoga all the time, so it's also like physically just having that outlet. I think is like was really healthy for me. Like I said, I got like a friendship out of it that is like going to be forever, and as I like met some people that really like have really affected my life. And it was like a path to a lot of things. It was a path to like probably having a community in New Mexico and like meeting people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. Um, and yeah, it was I think it's like really positively impacted my life and like really had a positive impact on my mental health, like for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about the program or anything? Other thoughts?
I think I guess like what I would say is like every program is a different fit for everybody. Um, and I think like the best thing you can do when you're trying to find the right fit for yourself is like contact the people that are in charge of it and like talk to them and like ask questions. Because I think that's like the only way you find out if it's right for you is like if it's Colleen and Lorelai, like call them and like ask them tons of questions because that's the best way to like find out if it's like the right fit for you. Um, and also it can lead to something that like you might not have thought of in the beginning, and just the process itself is really valuable.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for that and for your time, for sharing.
Yeah. You should do the program.